Welcome back, everyone. This is my second video on cassettes. I'm calling this the Cassette Years. It's an opportunity to talk about tapes. Tapes were the main way I listen to music from about 12 years old, definitely by 13. Started out on vinyl until I got my first CD player, which was when I was 17, summer after my junior year of high school. So, and even that was gradual, right? I would gradually get CDs. So, because that's where around with me for a long time, I used to carry a big trunk of them around with me, dorm rooms, apartments, until my last place I had in Oakland, California, when I recycled everything. But I did keep the booklets. So I still have them. So it's fun to talk about, triggers memories. I also like to talk about just cassettes in general. And also, it's interesting to me how many of these bands that I got into at a certain age, younger when I was a kid, I still listen to, and how many of these I have on other mediums. Did I get them on CD too? Did I get them on vinyl? Do I still have them in my current collection, my vinyl collection? It's interesting questions, interesting to me anyway. I hope you like it. This is the second part of the cassette year. So just, I got this big bundle of nothing but the sleeves basically, and they're so minimum. I can get just a ton of them in my hand. So I'm just picking these at random and talking about them. The first one, oh, Ton of Love. Okay, this is the first Springsteen album, studio album I bought new, like anticipating it. I'd gotten into him a little bit with Born in the USA, got into him a lot more with the Live 75, 85, but this was the first studio record, and even though I was just 15 years old, I love this one. I loved the subject matter. I thought it was really mature. Even at the time, it appealed to me, talking about relationships, the positives and negatives, kind of like his every aspect of him with him and his marriage at the time, and the kind of crumbling before him a little bit and trying to make sense of it. I still think it's one of the best Springsteen records. If I were to rate him, which I think I should probably do at some point, I would. This would definitely be in my top 10, and maybe a lot higher than that. So, yeah, Bruce Springsteen, Ton of Love. I mean, my favorite songs on here were always like, I loved Ain't Got You. I loved Tougher Than the Rest. I still love that song. And a real highlight was seeing Springsteen on Broadway when Patty came out and sang that with him, and just knowing the backstory, noting that they, remembering that they pretty much fell in love for real on this tour. And songs like Spare Parts, but really for me, it's like Ton of Love, Brilliant Disguise, and probably my favorite song on here is One Step Up. I remember seeing that video of him just playing his acoustic guitar, writing in the garage or something like that, around this age and really around this time, and really liking it. And it stuck with me. And as far as cassettes go, this was actually kind of a good one. It had, by 87, they were getting a little bit better. So it had all the lyrics, everything folded out. Yeah, this, I think, was kind of like from that video, or kind of the same setup that you see in One Step Up. Another shot here. Yeah, I remember quite liking this packaging. Of course, everything seems so small to me, but this was a good one. Ton of Love, Bruce Springsteen. Okay, what else we got here? All right. Here's like another one that's kind of, oh, wow, kind of substantial. Jane's Addiction. Wow, okay. My friends and I always refer to this as the import. Triple X Records. It's hard to get, kind of, compared to Nothing Shocking, which is the only album that was out at the time other than this. And I remember seeing it once, and I thought I would never see it again. And I just don't think I had enough money with me or something. And it just like was so disappointing that I couldn't pick that up, because I really thought I'd never see it again. And I think it was when we were on vacation, we're visiting some friends in Kentucky. And later on, I did find it, and I made sure, moved heaven and earth, whatever, to make sure I had like the 10.99 or whatever it was, probably less than that, to buy this record. I love, I think they're kind of a forgotten band. They're like a Gen X, total Gen X band. I mean, if there's going to be a Gen X band, it's probably Jane's Addiction. I mean, one of them for sure, that really just appealed to people at the moment, and just, I don't know, hasn't really persevered that much. Of course, it's super spotty, the material they put out. And they're finally going to do a new album with the four of them the 4 original members, and of course they got on stage and had some big brawl, and now they're suing each other, and the band is no more. But I was actually kind of excited about that because I felt like seemed like they were together for the right reasons, and it seemed like maybe they really make some good music again. Anyway, this was the one that started all out. This was kicked it all off. This came out in '87. It's a live record, although I think there's some debate whether it's really live or in the studio. But it's all it has a feel of a live album, that's for sure. Although I think the second side, My Time, and maybe it's just My Time was in the studio, or maybe I Would For You was too. It's been a long time since I listened to this. I used to listen to this all the time. Love the versions of Horrors, Pigs and Zen, Rock and Roll, cover of the Velvets, Rock and Roll, cover of the Rolling Stones, Sympathy for the Devil. That song, My Time, I think is great. I Would For You, it would just like melt my heart when I heard it. I just love that song. I absolutely love that song at the time. And in a way, I'm kind of surprised it never made it onto one of their, I guess, major label records. But this was a must. This was not like something that you ignored if you were a Jane's Addiction fan back in like '88. Yeah, so pretty good artwork actually. Folds out. Of course, you got this like Messiah like picture of Perry. But you've got some pictures of the band. God, they look so young. Dave Navarro and Stephen Perkins and Eric Avery, Perry up in the air. And then you have, I guess Jane, or we're led to believe that's Jane. And you got all the lyrics in here. So another one that's done pretty well. I had this in other formats. I had this on CD for quite a long time. None of them ever got as much play. Like the CD never got as much play as a cassette. I listen to this all the time on cassette. And then I've never had this on vinyl because it's just outrageously expensive. But hopefully someday it'll get re-released because I would like to pick this up. It's one that would be quite new to me again, or might feel that way just because it has been forever since I've listened to it. Great album, Jane's Addiction, self-titled. I love that band. First 3 records, including this one, phenomenal. After that, not so much. Okay, what's the next one here? Digging in here. This one looks kind of slim. I'm guessing this is maybe older, just maybe not such good packaging. Oh, wow. Well, Velvet Underground Nico. I can't remember if I told this story before, but I'll tell it now. r.e.m. turned me on to tons of music, and the Velvet Underground were one of them. And I'd always heard the first Velvet Underground record. Pick up the first Velvet Underground record. Well, I thought the self-titled one, the Velvet Underground, the one where they're on the couch, I thought that was the first one. So I picked that up in White Light, White Heat on the same day. And I liked them, especially the self-titled Velvet Underground record. White Light, White Heat would take a while, and it's still not one of my favorites. But so it would take a little while to get this one too, to actually pick it up. And I love it, of course. Absolutely love this record. Have had it on CD, this cassette. I think a lot of it's available. Peel Slowly and See. Although that's mostly outtakes, I think. That's a great box I need to revisit. And of course I have this on vinyl, so it's gotten a ton of play. They were never one of those bands that for me was just hip to like because other bands liked it. I legitimately loved the shit out of this when I heard it and still do. I don't play the Velvets like I did when I was in college. I played the Velvet Underground constantly when I was in college and know these records super well. If I'm going to reach for one now, it's probably Loaded. Just where I'm at, I guess. It makes more sense to me, although I shouldn't say that. This record I still love, of course, and the third one actually I play on Sunday mornings sometimes. I feel like that's a really good Sunday morning record. But yeah, you cannot beat this first Velvet Underground record. Sunday morning, I mean, Nico's on here, and I think she does a really good job. And I'm Waiting for My Man, Femme Fatale, Venus and Furs, All Tomorrow's Parties. I mean, just one of my best memories of seeing of before music, like house music played in the house, I should say, not house music, before a band comes on, is when I saw the Pixies in 1991, and they played All Tomorrow's Parties right before they came on. It was so loud and it sounded so good. Of course, you also got Heroin on here. There She Goes Again. A lot of these I first heard covered by r.e.m. on Dead Letter Office. They covered There She Goes Again, Femme Fatale, and Pale Blue Eyes off of the self-titled record. You also have I'll Be Your Mirror. I mean, the only songs I don't really care about this are like the last two. Black Angel's Death Song and European Sun, just because it's a little too noisy for me and kind of interrupts the mood. So lately, I've kind of shut it off after right before those two songs come on, but you can't beat this record. It's incredible. All right, what else we got here? Reach into my stack. Another one. This feels like very minimal packaging. Maybe it's another one. There's something going on here. Let's see. Simple Minds. Why am I laughing? I'm laughing because when I bought this tape in 1987, I'm guessing, it smelled like dog poop. It doesn't anymore. But I remember like friends sniffing it and being like, smell this. Tell me what it smells like. And it smelled like dog shit. I don't know why. The album was fine. I like the album. This is the one with Once Upon a Time and Alive and Kicking, kind of capitalizing on Don't You Forget About Me song that was on the Breakfast Club soundtrack. A great album. You know, it's funny, at the time, it was like I thought that they could potentially be as big as U2. I didn't see that there was a real difference there at the time. But I never really followed them much afterwards. And they're one of these bands I never really went before to check all this stuff out too. It kind of began and ended with this album. And please tell me what albums I should be listening to by them, because I'm willing to give them another shot. It's been a long time, and I still love it when I hear these songs on the radio. I have not played this tape probably since '88, so it's been a long, long time. All the Things She Said, Ghost Dancing. All the Things She Said, Once Upon a Time, and Alive and Kicking are the songs I remember the most off this. Packaging, like I said, it smelled like dog crap, which really lame, right? You got color on this side, and then you got, I don't know, just plain paper with just credits and nothing else on the other side. Just crazy to me, how good our eyesight had to be back then, but also just how little information there was on anything, you know? Didn't have the internet. We still managed to learn a ton, though. Just had to read those magazines and stay in the loop. All right, what else? We're really centered around like 1987, 88. Let's see. I think all those albums were from 87. Okay. This one. This one has some kind of booklet that folds out. Van Halen, OU812. I was a massive David Lee Roth Van Halen fan, still am. I mean, that music just makes me happy. I love those first 6 records. They're the band that started off for me. I mean, they're the first band that I was completely in love with and had to have everything by them and would talk about them all the time. You know, if YouTube was a thing back then, 12-year-old, 13, 14-year-old me would be talking about Van Halen all the time. You get really sick of it. Petered off around this time, though, when this album came out. Really stopped around the time that Sammy Hagar entered the picture. I think 5150 is actually a pretty damn good record. I don't listen to it anymore, besides just once in a while in the car. I'll get the itch to hear a song or two. This was a follow-up record, and at first I really liked it, liked what I heard off it. Black and Blue sounded to me, that was the advanced single, sounded to me like a Roth era Van Halen song, and I like the direction of that. And Mine All Mine seemed like it was changing things up rather. Cabo Wabo I liked as a song, but the songs that were hits off this thing, like Finish What You Started, everybody seemed to like that song. I couldn't stand it. I really couldn't stand Feels So Good. I thought it was just super cheesy. There's a Little Feat song that was covered on the single, a Political Blues, on the single for Black and Blue that I had. It's not on this, but I think it's on the CD version. I actually liked that quite a bit. When It's Love I actually liked at the time. But yeah, I can't say, other than Cabo Wabo and Black and Blue, I don't know that I would reach for this at all. I probably wouldn't for those 2 songs either. But definitely a lot of excitement in my peer group at the time when this came out. I remember it was the first time I knew that people could get an advance copy of something, because my friend John got an advance copy of this. I think his dad worked in the music business somehow, and we didn't believe him that he had it like on Friday instead of the Tuesday they were coming out, and he was talking all about it. But yeah, OU812, Eat 'em and Smile. Oh, U812. I'm just so juvenile, but God, they were a great band though with Roth. Okay, that's 1988. Okay, I was buying a lot of music then. All right, this feels older, I think. Yeah. Okay. I was just talking about this one. Velvet Underground, this and White Light, White Heat were the first Velvet Underground records I ever bought at the special low price. I thought this was the first one, as I just said. This is a great Sunday morning record. I love, it's got a little piece of leaf or something. Something in there. Anyway, Candy Says, love it. This is where Doug Yule enters the picture. John Cale is gone. Some Kind of Love, Pale Blue Eyes, Devastating, even a song like Jesus. Beginning to See the Light. That's the Story of My Life. After Hours with Maureen Tucker. No packaging other than, that. But it didn't matter. The music's so good. It didn't, it was just like a total oral treat, Didn't really matter that there wasn't anything in here. Man, they're a band I totally got turned on to through r.e.m. They turned me into a lot of bands. Okay, here's another one. Let's see. Is it going to be what? Okay, at least we had two from the 60s. Cars, first record. What do you say about this? Great record. For me, I got turned on to the Cars through Heartbreak City. I had that on vinyl through one of those RCA, I think, music clubs. And then I worked my way backwards. Well, I got this, which I love. And then I got Cars' Greatest Hits. And that would take me a while, like years later, to kind of fill in the rest. But what a great song. Good Times Roll, My Best Friend's Girl, Just What You Needed. I mean, I'm in touch with your world. Don't You Stop. I mean, like those first three songs are like huge hits or should have been hits. Bye Bye Love, Moving in Stereo, all mixed up. Moving in Stereo at the time was like my testing out a new stereo song. Put on the tape and life's the same, moving in stereo, and really hear like the soundscape, what you were working with your new stereo, or car stereo sometimes. And yeah, I'm also reminded, all mixed up, of Mark Kozlek from Red House Painters, and Sun Kill Moon did a really good cover of that. Great album. What can you say about the Cars' first album? As far as other mediums, other formats, I had this record on, I don't think I ever bought it. No, I did. I bought some deluxe version of it on CD at one point. And I do have it on vinyl, of course. So yeah, I had it on all three. I don't think I ever paid for a download. I didn't really do that much anyway. Cars. All right. Prince, Controversy. All right, this is a Warner Brothers one. These were always so crappy as far as packaging. You get the little tiny box with the cover on it. Then they got to tell you the name of the artist, and then the album name, and then they have to inform you that there might be some blank tape at the end of side 2 is necessary to preserve the sequence of the LP. Cover was great. Like I said, there's nothing in the way of packaging. Just a warning. And I guess that's credits, but there is a warning here about duplication too. Controversy took me a while to get into. I had a video a while ago about picking up on vinyl, and it was like a revelation to me because of all the Prince records that were released between Dirty Mind. This first two, I think, are slightly different, but between Dirty Mind and Love Sexy, this was the one I knew the least. I never thought it was that strong. Got it on vinyl a few years ago, and now I love it. I love that there's Prince that still feels incredibly fresh to me. This one was not very overplayed. It's interesting, like this and Purple Rain in 1999. I used to see a lot, when Purple Rain came out. You like on this just perusing through vinyl, I always see these three. And for the longest time, I didn't think there were any other Prince records than 1999, Controversy, and this one. But this one took me a while to get on cassette, and it also took me quite a while to appreciate, like I was saying, until more recently. Controversy is a great song. Do Me Baby. Annie Christian. I mean, I can't talk too much about this record because I still don't feel like I know it that well. I just, like I was saying, when I have listened to it recently, though, I have really, really liked it. Prince, Controversy. Okay, I've got time to do at least one more, two more. This one has a booklet of sorts. Wow. Bound to get some r.e.m. cassettes in here. This one, Reckoning, their second record. If I can remember the order that I got the cassettes in. It was, I had Murmur, traded with a friend, for a White Boy Blues compilation with Jeff Beck, Jimmy Page, and Eric Clapton. But I didn't really get into them with that record. And then later I got Document and Life Such Pageant on the same day. Then I think I got Fables next. And then I got Chronic Town and Reckoning on the same day. And somewhere in there I got Dead Letter Office too. Anyway, this is it depends on the day, but there have been times when this has been my favorite R.e.m. record. I love how it's just them kind of rocking out. It's them doing what they do best. It's not it's quite a departure from Murmur. It's not really that much of a like studio band record where they're really taking advantage of the studio. It just feels like they played a ton of shows, had an exciting new batch of songs, and went in there and recorded them. And yeah, it's one of my favorites for sure. Not much at all in the way of packaging. Nothing there. But did you really need it when you have songs like Harbor Coat and Seven Chinese Brothers and So South Central Rain, Pretty Persuasion, Time After Time? That's just the first side. Second Guessing, Letter Never Sent, Camera, Rockville, Little America. I mean, this is a classic, and boy, it was so exciting for me when I got into them because every album was a little bit different and every album was just killer. Like every single one. Yeah, getting into them with Document, working my way backwards was a lot of fun. And it happened very quickly. Okay, let's do one more. Never mind the Bullocks. Here's the Sex Pistols. I think I was 14 when I got this. I think I got this before I got into R.e.m. and I think. Yeah, I always heard about this record. You know, I don't remember. I think I thought it was like going to be way more like, in my mind, punk was more like the 80s thrash, or what do we call it, hardcore stuff. I think I'd heard a number of those songs somewhere, Friends or whatever, and I thought this would be like this. I wasn't prepared for such a good record. I mean, I really like this record. I think it's a phenomenal album. It's pretty much their only real studio record. And it's great. I mean, I love Johnny Rotten. I love the whole band here. Glenn Matlock, not Sid Vicious. I think he's on like one or two songs. I didn't know that until recently. And then, of course, Steve Jones and Paul Cook. Holidays in the Sun, Bodies. I mean, God Save the Queen, Anarchy in the UK. Pretty Vacant. I love this record. I think we could really use stuff like this right now. Crazy that it came out in like 76, 77, 77. Yeah, 77. And it was just, I guess it's just got like a Rhino high fidelity thing pressing. I have it on vinyl. I don't know if I need to go out and buy it again, but a lot of these songs just live in my eggs. I played them so much, but I love Never Mind the Bollocks. Here's the Sex Pistols. I'm gonna do one more. It needs to go pretty quickly. Okay, what is this? This has a massive booklet. This must be, I'm guessing, an 88 or 89 release. 87, 67, and yeah, I guess 84, but it seems like 87, 88 has been like kind of the theme for today. I love this record. I think this was my first Cure record. I got this and I got Standing on the Beach, the singles, real close together, but I'm pretty sure this was my introduction. I remember my cousin talking about them. I don't even know if I'd heard Just Like Heaven. I think the buzz around them was so good, or I just heard so much about them that in 1987, when I was like 14 or 15 years old, probably 15, it was the summer, I remember, I picked this up. And I just loved it. And I do remember the very first time I listened to it, I was in my grandma's car in Lake Tahoe, and the song The Kiss, the first song on here, get it out, get the fucking taste out of my mouth, or something like that. My grandma was like, Todd, can we put something else on? Not the type of album you want to play with your grandma in the car, I guess, but what a crazy, interesting double record. I mean, there's just so much to like on here. I went decades without really listening to it, and got into it in the last like few years, getting it on vinyl, listening to it again. But I always loved the packaging. Of course, it's kind of fallen apart actually. But this was one with an incredible booklet that just kept, I don't even want to pull it all out, but it just kept folding out with the lyrics. Got a eyeball in here. Boy, I have trouble with this. Great album. You know, super diverse. I mean, and nothing like the album that came after it, Disintegration. I mean, they really changed it up. But I love that this is like their white album. It's just super eclectic. Catch. I loved Catch. I loved Catch as a kid. I love Catch now. I think Catch is a great song by The Cure. Kind of an underrated little song. I love it. I really liked How Beautiful You Are. Why Can't I Be You was a single, the initial single. I used to have a big poster of Robert Smith. Why Can't I Be You? It's probably worth a bunch of money now. Got rid of it a long time ago. Of course, love Just Like Heaven. One More Time. Yeah, I can't read half of these. The printing's too small and the light's not very good. We all know it. We should know it. Cure, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. A great record, double record from 1987. Really broke them, I think, in America. Definitely set up Disintegration. I regret not seeing them on this tour, the Kissing tour. I remember some people at school wearing those shirts and just like I totally missed it. I don't think I heard about it. I remember hearing about The Cure before I got into The Cure, that everybody that went to their concerts just cried. And my friend and I were like, why would you go to a concert and cry? I think we heard the same thing about the Smiths. I don't know. Weird, you know, why would you do that? You know, you're just going to rock out, wouldn't you? I mean, you don't go to the Cure concert and cry. You might tear up at the emotion in some of the songs, but yeah, it's just funny the way it looked at things back then. All right, so that's it. Those are my, I don't know what I do, 6 or 7 or 8 cassettes from my youth. Yeah. Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. Let's see. I have that on vinyl. My girlfriend has it, actually. I had that. Did I have that on CD? I had that on CD at one point. Reckoning, I've had on all 3. Cassette, CD, LP. And Velvets, yes. I don't know if I forgot to mention anything else. I'm keeping this pretty loose. I'm trying not to go back and edit these too much. But yeah, this is just, really records for me. The things that I showed today were all like between the ages of like 14 and 16 that I got into, whether they were older stuff like r.e.m. or especially like the Velvet Underground, or newer things that came out at that time like Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, or even the Van Halen record. Even though I was getting more into alternative stuff, I was still, you still had like one foot back in like the hard rock stuff. I listened to everything at that age, which I think a lot of these tapes will show. So anyway, this is the Cassette Years 2nd edition, and I'll be back with more of these. Got more tapes to go through. I hope you like it. Leave your comments on these records, or what you were listening to at the time. If you're around the same age, it doesn't really matter, but yeah, love to hear your thoughts. Thanks so much.